Welcome to North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol. I'm your host, Dan Hammer. On tonight's show, we'll review North Dakota's come-from-behind win over Air Force. Also tonight, his teammates talk about Drake Caggiula's style of play, and we'll preview North Dakota's non-conference series at Wisconsin. Well, UND rallied to beat Air Force 3-2 in overtime Saturday night. Coach, good to be back with you again. I know you're not in the business of plotting history, but arguably that is the most dramatic home win, I think, in the history of this building.
Well, there's been some awful good ones here, but in terms of my short-term memory, which is pretty much limited to this year, Dan, it was a real good come from behind win for us. So, it's tough to win games. We weren't at our best in the first half of that game, but we certainly weren't poor. We had to just continually work to dig out of that hole.
Another example, probably, Coach, that no matter who you play, what time of the season it is, you really have to play your best to win hockey games.
Well, I've heard two coaches now in post-game comments, two opposing coaches, make mention of the fact that their team played their best game of the season. Obviously, it's early in the year, but I think that's something that our locker room and our group of leaders throughout our roster has to begin to understand, is that we will see everyone's best, and we need to be at our best in order to win hockey games in this building.
Upon further review, did you play a little bit better in the first two periods than initially your first reaction on Saturday night?
Well, I thought we were okay. I thought we were okay in the first half of the hockey game. We were just a little bit slow. I thought we looked a little bit heavy. We were getting one guy in on a forecheck, but we weren't getting the second and third men around it. Little things like that held us back. Some great saves by their goaltender, and like I said, a 2-0 deficit for us to come back from.
All right, Dave, we'll take a look at the highlights next as North Dakota scores with 29 seconds remaining in regulation and then 6 seconds in overtime for the winner. The highlights your way next.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sioux Shop at Ralph Engelstad Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables too.
Welcome back to the show. The U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame game this past Saturday night, pitting North Dakota against Air Force. Dave, let's take a look at the highlights. Great crowd, Military Appreciation Night. Folks also still celebrating Halloween on this evening, and one of my favorite Halloween looks was this one coming up right here.
There you go.
You like that one, don't you?
There are the Hanson brothers. Great look for Halloween.
In the building were the Hanson brothers. All right, Frank Serratore, longtime head coach Air Force. You know him well. You used to play for him. You have quite a history together.
Yeah, a ton of respect for Frank. He's one of the characters in the game, but he's also one of the great mentors and great coaches in our game. So it was a lot of fun to have his team here in the building. 18th
season for head coach Serratore at Air Force, bringing as one of his younger teams to Grand Forks with a dozen freshmen. The first shot on goal by either team at 2:56 results in an Air Force goal here and a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, it's one of those plays where they get a little bit of a bounce of a puck, but we're not in our right spot in our D zone. We've spread. We talked last week about being weak in the middle of the rink. We were weak in the middle of the rink right there. We had one player peel off from that defensive spot.
One of your goals, Dave, in this game was to put pressure on Air Force and make them play defense, considering they had 3 freshmen and a sophomore at the blue line, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned earlier in the show that I thought we were slow with our second and third guys really getting in on pucks and sustaining cycles and sustaining second pucks. We had a little bit of it. As I said, we weren't terrible, but we just didn't have enough of it to get to their goaltender.
9 shots on goal in the first period. The penalty kill on this night was a winning favor again for your team. Air Force had 6.5 minutes on the power play, but they had 3 combined shots. And talk about second effort plays like the one coming up here by Troy Stetcher on the penalty kill.
Well, these are the types of plays that make a penalty kill successful, and it's all extra effort. It's all compete and battle. That kind of sums up what a penalty kill is all about right there, and that's why Troy Stetcher is one of the best.
Yeah. On the flip side, what about your power play? We saw a lot of different combinations from your power play units on Saturday night.
Well, we did, and that's the way we've been practicing with 3 different units, and honestly, we had a lot of good opportunities. I go back to the power play at the start of the second period. Normally we're going to score 1 or 2 goals, on that power play. The opportunities that we had were very good ones. We created, we generated, we just couldn't get it past as you see Steph Patton on that play right there. And, as luck would have it, I won't just sum it up to luck, because it was a good play on Air Force's part and a tired play on our part. They come back down and score to make it 2-0 right after this power play.
They do. You had the early power play to begin the second period after a power play at the end of the first, and here is the goal that makes it 2-0 from their top line, the senior line.
Yeah, just tired legs. At the end of a power play, 3 guys caught down low, going for a line change at a poor time. And again, on tired legs, and they make a heck of a good play, and what results really in it was a 4-on-2 play.
Yeah. So it's 2-0. You outchanced Air Force by a 3-1 margin in the second period. Did you see your play starting to come around in the second period?
Yeah, no, we felt like we had a pretty good period.
Yeah.
We just couldn't find a way to solve their goaltender. The net result was them building that 2-0 lead through 40 minutes.
All right, we go to the third period. The momentum swings in a big way here. Luke Johnson, Stefan Patton in transition, sets up Tucker Pullman with the goal.
Yeah, great breakout play by Nick Matson to Luke, and a couple good plays coming up ice. And what I like with Tucker there, he's in attack mode, coming up ice, just a little pull and shoot through the defenseman's legs that their goaltender can't quite pick up. And that injected a ton of life into this building.
No doubt about it. So it's 2-1 now, and of course after a goal, your first several shifts after a goal are always important, and you did get positive shifts following that goal.
Absolutely. We followed it up. We had great momentum and great pressure. We had good opportunities to tie it up shortly after getting the first one. It wasn't meant to be, but we continued to push the envelope.
And then later in the third period, 2 key defensive plays kept this a 1-goal hockey game. The first is a Zane McIntyre breakaway attempt that he stops from Kyle Mackey, and then another one following this on a 2-on-1.
Yeah, on the Mackey breakaway, it was, we went to a 3-high setup with Michael Parks up top. He had a shot blocked, and to his credit, he turned around and put outstanding back pressure on their player. That took a lot of options away from him and made Zane's job a little bit easier on that play.
And then here's a 2-on-1 that Nick Matson blocks pass, and that thwarts that scoring opportunity.
Absolutely. Just pushing, we're pushing the pace at the other end, and you're going to give up a little bit when you do that. But again, Nick Matson did a good job recovering and getting back.
All right, walk us through the final seconds. You have the extra attacker, and Drake Caggiula will get the game-tying goal with 29 seconds remaining.
Yeah, just a great jump off the face-off by Nick Schmaltz to create in-zone possession. Some good outlet plays, and then just getting the puck to the net with numbers. And you see Drake finish it off there to give us the tie.
Good strong play by Michael Parks, who was outstanding on Saturday night, but a good strong play to set this up.
We saw a couple of those, we call them the diesel wraps, after one of our former players who perfected them. But Michael Parks is very good with that particular play. It's a tough play to defend when you have numbers in and around for the rebound.
All right, so you have life. You're going to overtime now, and you'll skate the final 2:43 of overtime shorthanded after the 5-minute major, checking from behind on Brendan O'Donnell here. So you got another mountain to climb.
Yeah, absolutely. We created another obstacle for ourselves there. It's something at the critical times of games, certainly in overtime, that we got to go in and wrap that player to not give ourselves that type of a position.
And yet you only gave up 2 shots on goal by Air Force before you would win this game, and really just an outstanding play by Michael Parks in a lot of ways to set up Bryn Chiswick in the game winner.
It is. Michael's got fresh legs. He just came off the bench, strips the puck when he's tracking their player back, protects it a couple of times, and then makes the great feed to the back door to Bryn Chiswick.
Yeah, I mean, he showed speed there. He showed strength. He showed skill. I mean, as we look at this replay again, his strength at center ice to get around a couple of Air Force defenders really set up the attack.
Well, I think Air Force may have had some tired legs on the ice. Parksy was absolutely fresh, and that's one of the benefits of being able to run 6, 7, 8 forwards through our penalty kill.
Well, and that was one of your goals this weekend also. You thought maybe people like Michael Parks and Stefan Patton were getting a little bit tired on the penalty kill, and you wanted to keep them fresh. Well, that sure paid off.
It did, and obviously in a one-game situation on the weekend, I think your energy levels are always a little bit better, but there's no question that was a great burst by Michael Parks to create the loose puck, and then great heads-up plays to create the winner.
The game winner with 6.4 seconds left in the game. Let's hear the 2 main combatants, the 2 main contributors of that play. Michael Parks and Bryn Chiswick break down the play from the minute it began.
Final 14 seconds of the overtime session.
I knew it was under
20 or under 15 seconds or something like that.
Now Holm will carry ahead.
You know, it was a fantastic play by Mike Parks in the back check. He caught the guy and stole the puck and turned up ice.
Went a little extra aggressive, and I knew I could try to make a play on one guy because there's so little time left.
Parks carries into the zone.
I kind of read the play, saw we had numbers, and in that situation on 2-on-1, my job just to get to that net with my stick on the ice.
Parks and Chiswick 2-on-1. Chiswick scores!
Mike Parks made an unbelievable pass. I can't even believe how he got it through. I wasn't even ready for it. That's how good of a pass it was.
You know, he was strong on his stick and buried it. You know, he made it look easy.
Has delivered North Dakota to a 3-2 overtime win.
Well, we learned that we can win any game. You know, we also learned that we need to start the game a little better than we did there, and we can't let a team come in and take over like they did that first 20 and go down 2 and have to scratch and claw just to get one on the board.
What changed between the first 40 and the final 25?
We just told ourselves in between the intermission, you know, like it's a one-game series, season series. It's huge for the end of the season, but it's also huge for building character right now. And we have the right guys to come back in this kind of game like that. But we just kept talking, saying got to be resilient, got to keep pushing, got to show what kind of team we are. And came out on top today, so it just goes to show what kind of team we are.
A win's a win. Yeah, I mean they played real hard and had us on our back of our heels for the first 40 minutes. So coming out and having a good third period was big for our team, and obviously finishing it off in overtime was huge.
Dave, the last shorthanded overtime goal, and the only other one scored in UND history, was back in February of 1967. Bob Lillo, a Roseau, Minnesota native. Did you know Bob at all?
I did not.
He passed away a few years ago. He was a teammate of Gino Gasparini's. And Gino tells me that he doesn't remember the game, doesn't remember the goal. He said it was probably either a real beautiful goal or just an ugly goal.
Yeah, well, if Gino doesn't remember it, then nobody remembers it. There's no question. But I couldn't think of a better time to follow that one up with another game winner in overtime than on Saturday night with Bryn Chiswick.
Yeah, without a doubt. 3-2 overtime final. Yet to come here on North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol. We'll hear teammates describe Drake Caggiula's style of play. He's North Dakota's leading scorer at this juncture of the season, and we'll preview UND's upcoming non-conference series at Wisconsin.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sioux Shop at Ralph Engelstad Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables too.
Drake Caggiula is North Dakota's leading scorer after 7 games of the season. He brings strength, he brings skill, and he brings tenacity. Here's what his teammates have to say about his style of play.
Here's Caggiula cutting in. Drake Caggiula saves it back.
He'll dangle you or he'll go through you. You know, it doesn't really matter. You know, he's a quick player. You know, his size doesn't really matter to him, and you know, he lights guys up. He hits hard. Probably leads our team with hits, and you know, he's great skill. You know, quick player, plays hard, and you know, I think tenacious would be a good word to describe his game.
Yeah, he brings that edge for sure. Obviously, he's very skilled, but at the same time, he brings in a lot of energy, and that picks up the bench a lot when we see him going hard out there.
Coming from my freshman year up until now, I feel way more confident. I feel it myself, and many people have commented me on that and just saying you're more consistent and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, 3 years into your college career, you like to think you're getting a little more confident in yourself. So, I think I've been a lot more confident. That's able to make me play the way I like to play and do the plays that I maybe wouldn't have done my freshman year because I was too scared or whatever. So, being a junior now, it gives me the confidence to make those plays.
Unique. I think, you know, he's not the biggest guy ever out there, but he always seems to be one of the guys that has one of the biggest hits of the game. You know, he works his butt off every game, and he's got some very deceiving hands, and his shot is probably one of the quickest on our team. You know, he scores not only a lot of goals in practice, but obviously he's one of the guys that we lean to in games, and he's going to be even more so this year.
Caggiula has 8 points on the season, 2 goals and 6 assists, even though he's been a little bit snake-bit scoring goals here early in the season. One freshman making his mark is Trevor Olson. He played prep hockey at Duluth East, played in 3 consecutive Minnesota State tournaments, then went on to play in the USHL. About a year ago, Olson had hip surgery, but it hasn't curbed his physical style of play one bit.
Big hits like that definitely is something our bench and our team feeds off of, and those do nothing but help our team. We always say, like, if there's a penalty like that, we'll kill it, and we'd rather kill one of those than like a minor stick penalty or something like that. But yeah, he's definitely making some noise with those hits.
He plays hard. He plays UND hockey. Just to put it in simple terms, he'll crash and bang. He'll stick up for his teammates, and he's the guy that everyone loves on and off the ice. He's great in the locker room. He's just that typical team player, and he does whatever's asked of him. So he's done a great job so far.
Hollerman hammered to the ice off the hit from Trevor Olson.
Coming up next on the show, Coach returns as we preview North Dakota's series with arch rival Wisconsin.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sous Shop at Ralph Engelstad Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables too.
Welcome back to the show. Dave, in the late stages of the game Saturday night, you moved Michael Parks with Nick Schmaltz and Drake Caggiula. Very effective line as the game wore on. What are the chances of that group staying together as you look ahead?
Well, I think there's a chance. We're still pretty early in our work week here. But we like what we saw in the third period, and it wasn't just Michael Parks that we moved. We really shuffled all of our right wingers for the third period. We got a little bit of a spark out of that. That doesn't necessarily mean we'll stay with all of those combinations, but Parksy seemed to be a pretty good fit on that right side with Nick and Drake.
That becomes somewhat of a loaded-up offensive line. What's the trickle-down effect, in fact, if those three, Schmaltz, Caggiula, and Parks, stay together?
Well, you know, we've talked about, needing scoring through the depth of our lineup all year long, and that's not going to change regardless of what one combination ends up being. If it is Parks on the right side with those guys, we're looking for other combinations to step forward and to make a difference in hockey games. And one line is not going to win us games, not with our team. We're a team that needs to have 4 good lines with everybody chipping in and contributing.
All right, you're bound for Wisconsin. 2-game series at the Kohl Center. The Badgers are 0-4, but this is their home opener on Friday night.
Well, throw out the 0-4. I don't think any of that matters. A couple of those games were played up in Alaska. The other games were very close, tight games if you take a look at them. So throw those out. They've had a couple weeks here to retool and to get ready for their home opener in a rivalry series against the University of North Dakota. So this will be a great University of Wisconsin, University of North Dakota matchup. We're looking forward to getting into the Kohl Center. We respect how difficult of a building it is to play in. But looking forward to the 2 games.
They are still very much a rival of yours. What's future scheduling look like with Wisconsin?
Well, we'll consistently continue that rivalry. They'll come and visit us here at Ralph Engelstad Arena next year. We take a year off then in between and resume the home-and-home series after that.
All right, Dave, good luck this weekend in Madison, and we'll have Saturday night's game for you on Midco Sports Network, and we'll recap the series next week here on the show. We're back with more after this.
North Dakota Hockey with Dave Hakstol on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sous Shop at Ralph Engelstad Arena, the Greater Grand Forks Convention and Visitors Bureau, Indian Triumph of Fargo, and by Hot Spring Spas and Pool Tables too.
Up next for North Dakota, a two-game series in Wisconsin. Many of you remember last season, the Midwest Regional in Cincinnati, and North Dakota defeating Wisconsin on the road to the Frozen Four.
Parks, who had one of the tallies for North Dakota on the drop. O'Donnell fires, score! It hit traffic in front, and a dramatic goal for North Dakota. And North Dakota is on its way to the Midwest Regional Final.
They'll definitely have the memory of last year in their head. We ended their season last year, and that never sits well with a hockey team. So we know what we have to do. We'll just go in there and play our game. So we're looking forward to it.
Old WCHA rivalry. They probably remember last year we beat them out of the national tournament. So there's a lot of fuel to that series, and should be a fun one. I personally haven't been to Wisconsin yet, so it'll be a lot of fun for all of us to get out there and play an old rival.
A couple of Badgers to watch this weekend. Senior goaltender Joel Rumpel. He has 9 career shutouts, 49 career wins. And also senior forward Joe LeBate. He's Wisconsin's active career scoring leader. It's a 2-game series, and Saturday night you'll be able to see UND in Wisconsin right here on Midco Sports Network. 7 o'clock Saturday night for the series finale. We'll see you here back next week.